It's the morning culture on V103. Frank Ski, Jade Nova, JR.
Yeah.
Gucci Man.
Wow.
Baby mama Sheena Evans is asking for $20,000 a month for their 11-year-old son to survive on. On court documents filed in November, they're asking the judge to keep Gucci Man's documents under seal, but they're trying to force him to turn over his financial records. There is a piece of this, ladies and gentlemen, that nobody knows. On the phone right now, we have her attorney, Tanya Mitchell Graham. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you this morning, Frank?
I'm doing great, and how are you?
Oh, just fine. Trying to get ready for work, but my client called me and asked me if I would call in. So,
Okay, tell everybody who you are.
Good morning. This is attorney Tanya Mitchell Graham, and I represent Ms. Sheena Evans.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Well, I think the issue that most people are not aware of is that we are dealing with a minor child that has severe autism. He has to have care 24 hours out of the day. He has the type of autism where he is nonverbal.
Okay.
He's also a runner. And so because of that and the lack of finances that Ms. Evans has, she has to attend school with him and basically govern her whole life around the care of this child.
Wow.
So when you're dealing with a handicapped individual and you have to be the primary caretaker, even though she does have a skill and can work, her primary focus is to care for the child. He cannot attend school by himself. He doesn't have a regular schedule like most children may have a bedtime. He cannot adhere to that because of his autism. And she spends day in and day out caring for this child. If she has to do things like go to court, like she did last week, she has to have a family member attend school with the child. He needs 24-hour care, and because the support that she gets now is not sufficient for her to get a caretaker and some of the other needs that he needs, therapy, etc., which are not covered by insurance, she has to take on this awesome responsibility by herself.
Wow.
With the help of family members and family friends. She has a family friend who is so close to her that she calls her aunt, that she's known since she was 10 years old, who provided an affidavit for the court describing the type of care that the minor child needs.
We are talking with attorney Tanya Mitchell Graham, who is Miss Sheena Evans' attorney, the mom of Gucci Mane's 11-year-old son. Why has it taken so long for her to come forward to ask for more money before now?
Well, she's made attempts. She has to contact Mr. Davis through his personal assistant. She doesn't even have his personal cell phone number.
Wow.
And so in order for her to get anything that she needs for the child, let's say, for instance, if there's a special therapy session or a special camp for children with autism, she has to contact his assistant and, they will either accept or reject the request.
But I guess I'm asking, why hasn't she gone through the court system to get this request granted up until now? This is an extenuating circumstance.
It is an extenuating circumstance. She tried for years to avoid going to court. And when she realized that, there just simply was no other way than to proceed in this fashion, that's what she did. She also had to find someone that was willing to, assist her. She doesn't have money.
Right.
And that's where you came in.
Yes. It was very difficult for her to, hear people talk about how she should get up and get a job. She would love to get up and get a job, but she has to attend school every day with her son because of his severe autism.
Wow.
Wow. Well, there's always two sides to a story. Very, very glad to get both sides, both perspectives. Thank you so much.
So where's the case at now?
Well, I won't comment on the litigation. It seems like someone's able to get that information now, but it's ongoing.
So are you all just seeking the $20,000 a month? Is that the number, or are you seeking the court to guide with that number?
Well, I would say both. One thing that I also wanted to share, just Georgia law, while it does look at the income for both parents in determining the basic child support obligation, when you have a parent who has a higher income, the Georgia law allows for a high income deviation just so that the minor child, let's say if the child were not handicapped, the minor child should share in the economic benefit of his or her parent. And so the Georgia law allows that at any rate. So we have that factor along with the factor that we have a special needs child.
And I guess the last question that I would have, and maybe you can answer this, there have been several people who have been questioning whether or not Gucci has visitation and has been utilizing visitation with his child.
Well, why don't you ask him that?
Is that part of the issue that he doesn't come and get his child? That's what some people are asking.
Well, the thing is, you can't force someone to be a good parent and to spend time with their child. So I think that's probably a question better directed to Mr. Davis.
Thank you very much, Miss Tanya Mitchell Graham, the attorney. For Sheena Evans.
Wow.
That's a lot to take in.
It is.
It's a lot to take in.
And I think that would change a lot of the caller's perspective on the situation, for sure.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I actually wish that more moms would, and even fathers too. And my advice always is nowadays, like, as soon as you have a child out of wedlock, if you are not married, as soon as you have that child, you should go and get the child support ordered by the court and just put it through the court system. And there's so many moms who, just like she was saying about Sheena, that, she tried for so long. She tried to work it out. She tried, I mean, at the end of why are we trying? Like, why are you worried about getting in touch with assistant to ask permission for the father, for the child to go to camp, when you just go to court and have the court order all of that in there?
Yeah, well, she's asking for a modification, and isn't that a little more difficult process? I mean, she was already getting money based off of what he was making before.
It probably isn't a difficult process because the attorney can get attorney fees paid for. If there's the attorney's going to get the attorney fee paid for.
For the baby's mother, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So when you're going after somebody like Gucci Mane that's got the money, there's attorneys that would go out there and get it. I mean, I'm not saying it's hard for some people mentally to put when you got all of this other stuff going on. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Like, she's dealing with a kid
so
24
much.
hours a day, 7 days a week. She can't work. I mean, the last thing she wants to worry about is the headache of going through a court system for something that already should kind of be taken care of. This baby needs care.
And
this child needs care.
We also don't know how their relationship has changed over time.
I mean, obviously tremendously, because she can't even reach him directly.
Well, we don't know how it started. We don't know what the communication, what it was like.
Facts.
That it got to this point.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of gray area there that only really the two of them know.
But the best thing about court, nobody gives a damn about that.
It's just facts.
Nobody care. It's just the court don't care about nothing. They just care about facts. She gonna go in there. They gonna say how much does he make. That he's gonna turn over his financial records. They're gonna see how much money he makes. They're gonna see what she needs. They're gonna see the extenuating circumstances of what it is.
And the
court is gonna order everything in there, and it's gonna be done. It's not the hard part that they're dealing with now is him not wanting to turn over his financial records.
Right.
Obviously, that is a main issue in a lot of these cases. And with artists, it's very different. I want everybody to understand that a lot of these artists get paid through their companies.
Right. So there's loopholes.
And there's shielding with the company.
Hold the money.
And basically, he probably only gets a certain amount of money personally to use.
Because he keeps it in the company.
And everything else is going through the company. So you may see the cars, but the cars could be paid for by the company.
Right.
You may see the clothes, and the cars are paid for by the company. And then basically, he could be saying, I only make $100,000 a year personally.
Oh, I hope that's not the case. We'll see.
But it could be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the loophole that gets run in there. But at the end of the day, for anybody, you gotta, ladies, you gotta go right away.
Or men.
Know what I mean? You gotta go right. And the other part of it is too, men, when your circumstances change, you gotta go immediately.
Right on.
Like you gotta go. Don't be like, okay, can we work this out?
Nip it in the bud.
Or I'm out of work now. Can we work this out? Whatever, because it don't matter.
You're not gonna have that protection.
At the end of the day,
and here's the other bad
for the
part.
baby.
I want to say this too. Here's the other bad part. Do you know that when you pay child support to your son's mom, right? And let's say there's something else happening. The son wants to go on a trip or whatever, right?
Okay.
So the father puts up the extra money. That doesn't count for anything.
You mean
Like,
if he
you
does
can't-
it on his own?
You can't go back in later on and say, well, I gave her extra this and I did this and I did. The court don't care about that.
Right.
The only thing they care about is what's on that paper. So everything needs to be worked out with the court system, and it's easier for everybody. It's easier for the moms because the dad just pays through the court and the mom gets a check.
Court sees things in black and white.
That's it. 100%.
All right.
So we want to thank Miss Tanya Mitchell Graham for that call-in. We will post the interview coming up with the Morning Culture on the People Station V103 website at v-103.com. It's the Morning Culture on V103.